Girls.
The sounds of Kent.
The sound of Kent.
Pat Marsh. BBC.
Radio Kent.
Afternoon, 3:09. We love, as you know, celebrating all the talent we have here in the county of Kent, which is why the inspirational author Amanda Larkman is with us from Canterbury. Amanda, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
You have done something which, well, it must make your mum so proud, because I think it was your mum who said you can do anything you like.
She did, yeah, she did. She always had absolute faith in me, bless her.
And now here you are, a published author.
I know, I can't quite believe it. And on BBC Radio Kent as well.
Tell us how long you've been writing.
Well, I've written all my life. I'm an English teacher, and I had a choice at university, either going to being a writer or going into teaching. And I thought I could never save money, so my granddad told me I'd get a good pension as a teacher. So that's why I went into teaching. But I've always had, short stories and things on my hard drive and half-finished novels, one finished novel. And then just got to a stage where I thought, well, I really need to sit down and do it properly. But I had a lot of rejections. That was the thing. And that was what was really, for 20 years I'd send it in. And I had one agent who I sent in this novel, which I thought was fantastic. And she said that the main character, who was entirely based on me, was too ludicrously stupid to be believable. So she just rejected me. And it just kind of, the more you get rejected like that, the more disheartened you become. So I just kind of carried on writing. But
well, why did you carry on writing? Because many people really a compulsion for you.
It's like a real stress thing for me. I read all the time, so I'm a big reader. I usually read sort of a book a week, but the writing, there's something about writing I find really enjoyable and satisfying.
How do you find the time? I mean, being an English teacher and everything else that's going on in your life.
And working in a boarding school is hard because I can't write during the term time. It's just impossible. So I either write late at night or during the holidays. I get generous holidays, and it's what's wonderful about teaching is you get the opportunity to do something else during the holidays. And lockdown was the real thing for me because it meant that a story that had been kind of hanging around my head actually came to fruition and just came to life under my hands. It was a really weird experience, and that was The Woman and the Witch, and that the lockdown gave me the chance to really push that and get it out there.
And that is the first of a trilogy,
Yes,
isn't
it
it?
is.
Did you know you were going to write 3 books?
I kind of did, because The Woman and the Witch is about 2 characters, Frieda and Angie, who just completely... it's really weird. I've heard authors say this and I never believe them, but they take over your life. They grow, like Frieda suddenly finds herself in Berlin, and I had no idea that was going to happen when I was writing the book. And I just felt that there was more to her story and there was more to Angie's story. So that's what I thought I'm going to have to do. And lots of readers wrote to me and said, well, tell me more about Frieda, tell me more about Angie, what happens next? So then it became a trilogy. I kind of always thought it would be a trilogy, but I thought no one would read it. I had no idea whether anyone would like it. So I just sort of put it out there, thinking it would, maybe sell a few copies to my family. But actually, it sort of took off, and I sold thousands of copies. I could not believe it.
And the second book, Frieda, which is all about her story, is out now. And that's a kind of prequel,
it is,
isn't it?
It kind of goes... It sort of starts off at the end of Woman and the Witch, and then it's kind of a flashback to what she got up to when Frieda had a midlife crisis. That seems to be a bit of a theme with my books. I think my midlife crisis engendered a lot of my books. But she's very unpleasant, Frieda. I mean, if you look at some of the reviews, they're saying, I can't stand why I like someone who's just so awful. And she's awful. She's based on my grandmother, who wasn't awful, but was a character and inspired Frieda. So I just wanted to tell her story, really.
How old is she?
Well, she's 110 in Woman and the Witch.
Right.
But she doesn't look it. She lies about her age, and she uses her magic to look much younger. And that's what she gets told off for, because she uses her magic for...
Selfish reasons.
reasons.
Yeah,
she's
but
not
if we
very
had
nice.
those powers, we'd all use that
Absolutely.
magic, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why witches, Amanda?
What it started out was I had this character, this 100-year-old woman who... when you see my grandmother, when she died at sort of 96, and she was very bent over and, no hair. And when you see women like that, I always think, what were they like? Were they in the war? Were they cracking codes? Or, and you kind of have these assumptions about people because of where you see them. And I just love the idea of thinking, well, what's she like inside? And with her, although she looks like a frail old woman, if you give her a bad cup of tea, she'll flick boils at your face, that will grow the next day. And I just love the idea of that sort of subversive character who everyone just dismisses because she's an old woman.
Well, that's the truth, isn't it? You reach a certain age and society kind of ignores you.
Yeah, you become invisible. And Angie's a character like that as well, because she's very, very basic. She's this big fat cleaner who's based on me. And it's that sense that if you're really big, people just make assumptions about you or don't notice you, or you become invisible. And I really wanted to explore women who are more than how society saw them. And that's why Frieda just does whatever she wants. She's got no restrictions. She doesn't apologise. She just grabs life and lives it, you know, and she teaches Angie to do the same. And I just like the idea of these subversive women.
And she spent her childhood holidays in Margate.
Yes, she
didn't
did.
So there's
Sands,
Kent connections there.
Lots of Kent, lots of Kent in there.
Why? Why so much Kent?
Oh,
you could have based it anywhere.
Well, true. I mean, she goes to Russia and that sort of thing as well. But Kent is, you know, I mean, I was born in the Middle East. I was born in South Yemen. But my parents are very much, my mum was from Dartford. My dad was from Sidcup. I think I'm a Kentish maid, or maybe I'm a maid of Kent. But because
Let's not start all that again.
No, but you know, Kent. You know, this is where I've lived since I was a child, and I just think Kent is a fantastic county. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I'm on BBC Kent, but you know, we've got the coast, you've got the woods, you've got the beaches. You know, it's just got everything, and that's what I wanted to explore in my books.
And what does Frieda? She spends a little time in what seems to be a village on the Kent, well, in the Kent countryside, or in East Kent. Is it? Where did you picture? Because I was trying to work out.
What's strange? Because what inspired me was Witch Ford.
Oh yes, yeah.
I don't really notice in the first book it's called Witch Ford, which is Fordwich backwards. But I never knew where I'd set it until my husband took me to stay at Eastbourne Manor on Valentine's Day. And as we walked out of Eastbourne Manor, I thought, this is Pagan's Reach. This is the view from the house. And I hadn't kind of consciously clocked that the last time I'd stayed at Eastbourne Manor, which had been years before, I'd obviously absorbed the view, because that is the view you see from Frieda's house. Which is weird, isn't it? Because I hadn't consciously picked up on it.
Does that happen a lot? I mean, you mentioned earlier that, you know, a lot of authors say, the characters, you know, run away with themselves.
They surprise you constantly. Yeah? I mean, they really do. And I think they just come to life, and then they forge their way forward. Because I'm a bit of what they call a pantster. So I'm not, I planned my thriller, but I'm a pantster for the others, which you basically write by the seat of your pants.
Right.
And that's what George Martin does. And that's why George R.R. Martin, that's why he gets into such pickles, because he just writes his character, then doesn't know what to do with him. And it is.
Would it not make more sense to map it out?
Yeah, but I find that really boring. I mean, the thriller I really enjoyed doing, but it took me a year to plan the thing, and I'd rather just started writing it. It's probably a better book because of it, though.
Tell us a little about Daphne. Now, and Daphne is quite clearly defined.
Yeah, I love Daphne. She's basically the antithesis of Frieda, because she's she's the vicar's daughter. She's very prim and proper. She cares about the village, whereas Frieda doesn't give a monkeys. She cares about children. You know, she's a nice woman. And Frieda really enjoys giving her like rude books to read, and you know, doing magic on her and freaking her out. But she's the sort of pendulum. What's the word? Counterbalance to Frieda. You need Daphne, and actually, she brings out the best in Frieda, because Frieda's horrible, but she buys her those lovely paints at the end, doesn't she? She loves Daphne, and I'm hoping that Penny is going to be in the second one.
Okay.
The third one.
Third.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Because basically in the third one, Frieda goes missing, and Angie has to team up with Penny to find out what's happened to Frieda.
Oh, right.
There you
okay.
Go. Yeah.
But I got the impression that Daphne has no idea that, you know, Frieda is a witch.
Well, she does towards the end. You remember when she does that? She shows her what she can do, because...
Yeah. I've not got to the end yet.
Oh, you've not
Don't
finished
spoil
it?
it. Spoiler.
No, she's got no idea at the moment, no.
Right, okay. Thank you for that. Because there's a very funny scene where they come out to Daphne, and she thinks their special powers might be because they're members of the police force. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that made me laugh as well.
Right, okay.
I like making myself laugh in my books. And I read them out to my husband, and he doesn't think it's as funny. But that made me laugh.
But you need, as an author, do you not need that? Because, you know, you need a bit of creative objectivity, don't you?
Yeah, and I just love placing Frieda and Daphne together and seeing what happened, because they were such different characters. And Daphne's like appalled. I mean, when she says, we've got special powers, and she just said, "Oh, do you mean the police?" That was just, she's so not understood Frieda. It just made me laugh.
Why magic? Why magic and witches?
I don't really know, and I mean, I'm very grateful. I've got a very loyal, large following of witches who have come to me on Instagram and said how much they've enjoyed it, and it's. When I started Woman in the Witch, I wanted Frieda, the whole reader, all the way through to not know, is she magic or has she got dementia? Because it's not really about magic. It's about hooking into nature and drawing. So I read a lot of studies on how being in nature brings your blood pressure down, brings your cortisol levels down, that people are healthier in nature. So all I did was sort of extrapolate it out one step so that Frieda can harness the power of nature. But she uses it for bad sometimes, but it's just about this idea of being aware of your surroundings and not being amongst sort of concrete blocks, but actually going out and, you know, tree hugging and things, and that's really, it was an extension of that. So it wasn't really magic as in, it's not magic like wands magic. No. It's about hooking into the energy of nature, which we kind of do as humans anyway, don't we?
And we're growing in that. And I think the lockdown made us aware of that, didn't
and
it?
I think I was very conscious of that because I was writing it during the lockdown. So that idea of drawing on the sort of power and energy around you of nature is a really important thing. I think humans often disconnect from nature, and I don't think it's healthy.
What are you working on currently? Because I know you aim, don't you, to write, 1,000 words a day?
Well, that's what I tell people to do. Well, when people say...
Oh, that's what you tell other people to do.
Well,
it's not necessarily what you do.
Well, my advice is write something every day, even if it's 100. Because people say to me, well, what would your advice be? And that to me is, if I'm on holiday, I try and write 1,000 words a day. And sometimes those 1,000 words will take me 8 hours. I'm literally typing one word at a time. And then you get this whoosh. And sometimes I've written 7,000 words in a day because suddenly a scene, you haven't come to it in Frieda yet, but you know, like the bit with One Eye in Russia?
Yes.
I think I wrote that in 2 days. It just, the whole scene and I was like, wait, there's a one-eyed man in this. You know, where did this come from? You know, it was a really weird scene, but it just came to me complete. And I remember writing to my friend, not my friend, but a contact, Lisa Jewell. Have you heard of her, the author? She's a thriller writer. Yeah, it was Lisa Jewell. She's quite famous, and I was talking to her on Twitter or something, and she said when she writes, it's just she's watching a film and she writes it down, and it's kind of like that. When I write, you know, I'm just writing down what's happening.
So you visualise it, and then
very
you
much
just
so,
transcribe it.
And I smell it as well. I'm quite into smells.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't really notice that, but I do a lot of smells and colours.
Wow.
I didn't realise that until someone said to me, "You're always talking about smells." Oh, okay.
Well, you're corner the market there, I would have thought. Good on you. Yeah. And you write blogs as well, don't you? Very entertaining blogs. Yeah. Just out of interest, I think the book, Frieda is kind of standalone, although it is, you know,
you could read
your
it
second
alone.
book. Yeah. Where do you go to get the books?
You get them on Amazon.
Okay.
They're all on Amazon, or you can go to the Walrus and Oyster Emporium in Canterbury, which is a fantastic shop, and they sell my books. And my blog, which is middleagedwarrior.com, I kind of did that first before the novel writing because I just wanted to. They say you have to write 1 million words until you get any good, and I'm just about on 1 million words. So now's the time to buy my book, because the blog I wrote for 2 years, just practicing writing, just talking about how annoying my children were and that kind of thing. They're listening now. Sorry.
They're listening. They're listening to you say how annoying they are.
Well, it was good. You know,
it's good creative.
Yeah,
yes,
it is. Yeah,
it works well. So when will the next book be out?
Well, hopefully, I try to publish around spring every year. So I'm hoping that Angie, or I'm not sure what to call it yet. I don't know whether Angie works as a title, but Angie's Adventures or something will be out next spring. Hopefully, I've kind of started it and I know where I'm going. I've just got to sit down and write it. And
how does criticism sit with you?
I mean, I've been astonished at how much lovely criticism, lovely reviews I've had, and I've had people approach me on Facebook and Instagram and say, "Oh, I love Frieda, and I want to take them out for dinner and all of this." So like really going really positive. And then I had one person who said about a scene in my book was comically awful, and you do get people who just say, "Oh, it's a good cure for insomnia," but actually, touch wood, so far the majority are positive, which is lovely, and it's lovely hearing from readers. I can't get my head around the fact that the things that I've created in my head are now in their head. I find that amazing. It's lovely. It is a fantastic read, and the chance for you to enjoy the work of Amanda Larkman. Look her up. She's from Canterbury. What do you
keep in touch with us? Will you do us a
Absolutely,
favour
I'd
and
love
stay in
to.
touch? Because
Yeah.
we'd like to get you back on. Because you've got a kind of energy,
Oh,
haven't you? Well,
I'm
do you not
drawing on
think?
it. Yeah, that's my magic.
Yeah. Or maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
bewitching you. And it's all my coven following me.
All right, yeah. Okay, then. Well, so long as you don't point a bony finger and
No, I won't.
break out
I
in
won't.
boils, I'll be all right. Amanda, lovely to see you.
Oh, thank you
Thanks
so
so much
much.
for being with us today.
Thank you.